what's happening, y'all? Welcome in to another episode of Snaps. Just a massive news day that just doesn't let up. Shout out to everyone who joined us last night as we reacted live to the news that, the unthinkable had happened. Nick Saban officially retiring. And then, that's not, and I know we're not going to get into it here, but like the fact that Nick Saban, Pete Carroll, and Bill Belichik all left their current jobs. Now, to be fair, like Belichick's probably going to coach somewhere else.
Yep.
Carroll may or may not. I think he's just going to stay in an administrative role, but there is maybe some opportunity there. Saban retires. So there are different gradients to this, but
and
like
Jim Harbaugh's on the horizon too, bro. Like you're about to lose another college one.
But still, I'm talking within a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
The men who defined, if you are our age, Aaron, between Carroll's USC run, Saban's Alabama run, and then both what Carroll and Belichick did in the NFL, whether it's the Legion of Boom and their little mini run they had, or they just extended Brady Belichick dominance. To be completely narcissistic about it, it makes you feel old. Because like, oh shit, like these are all the names that were supposed to never go away that I've always just been used to being in control of my football life. And now they're all going away at once. It's really, really insane stuff.
What's the bigger news to you? What's the bigger news to you?
I mean, look, I said it plenty of times.
What's the bigger loss?
The biggest news is easily Saban.
Yes.
Because Belichick will coach again. And honestly, Belichick in New England, it was not going in the right direction post Brady. Pete Carroll wanted to still coach and still's pretty damn good coach. But Seahawks, I guess, wanted to change the direction, and it seems to be pretty amicable. And who knows if he's retired or not. And Pete Carroll didn't have an iron grip on the throat of the sport, as did Nick Saban. Like, make no mistake, Nick Saban may not have had the grip on college football that he once did, but he still had as strong a grip as anyone. It's just that now he had a peer in Kirby Smart, who I would have put above him. But then, look, Nick gets the last laugh in the SEC championship. Kind of a great way for him to go out in terms of beating your assistants. You beat your greatest challenger.
You can't keep the discussion going. Like, who is the better coach, Nick or Kirby? And Nick obviously has the better head-to-head. Kirby seemed like he was going to surpass him, and then now Nick kind of walks away after the final victory. Like, sorry, bitch, you ain't going to catch me now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he can't even sniff the head-to-head. He can maybe beat the natty number, like we talked about, but he can't sniff head. Oh my God! Breaking news here from Jason Watley: Jeremy Pruitt spotted driving a Nissan Sentra towards Tuscaloosa. Couldn't get a pre-J, couldn't get him a charter. But we have official snaps reporting from our excellent chat. Jeremy Pruitt on his way to Tuscaloosa, the human thumb returning to T-Town.
How many reporters are currently parked outside the private airport in Tuscaloosa, just waiting for planes touching down to get a glimpse of who's getting off of them?
I mean, it's who. Everybody in the country. It felt like yesterday felt like. And this is going to sound extreme and is insensitive, but it almost felt like a terrorist attack or something in terms of how it rippled throughout society. And this just shows, like, this is also why I think Saban's the biggest deal to me, because my entire life is college football. Aaron, this is how we make our money. The only thing that we did worth the damn athletically, me especially, like you played in the league for multiple years, but me, like, was college football. It was my athletic peak. I still work in and around it to provide for my family. And so because of that, and I live in a part of the country that's obsessed with college football, in a city that's obsessed. And so the social ripples that you felt through text groups, social media, people talking on the street. I walk into the office today and I hear old Willie, "That's our coach, the best damn coach. How we gonna replace him?" Just like coming out of a random cubicle in the WeWork that I'm at. Like it was fucking wild just how the seismic shockwave that I felt like went through this part of the country yesterday afternoon.
You want to talk about like making a living on college football? How about these coaches across the country and the amount of coaches that have coached in the SEC that have been fired because of the standard in which Nick Saban set at Alabama. I mean,
you say fired.
What's that?
Okay, go ahead.
I was just saying, like for the past 10 years, 12 years, it's always been like if you can't make that standard, which is unattainable, then your ass is fired.
But we always got to remember this, man. Yes, he got a lot of cats fired.
Got a lot.
But he got him. Yeah, but he got him paid first.
Yeah,
and he got everybody paid more than they got before. Rising tide raises all ships. Why is fucking Mark Stoops making $8 million now? Because of the market set by Nick Saban. I love this quote from the Faithful Black Men Association, which is just a very funny Twitter account from this to come from. But they had a quote yesterday. I'd have made more millionaires than the lotto did. And then with a graphic underneath it, millionaires made by Nick Saban. Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian, Jimbo Fisher, Lane Kiffin, Billy Napier, Dan Lanning, Mario Cristobal, Will Muschamp, Derek Dooley, Mark D'Antonio, Brian Daboll, Jason Garrett, Adam Gase, Mike Loxley, Butch Jones, and that doesn't even get into the first round picks or the second or third or the fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh, whatever. He's had more first round picks than losses.
It's crazy stat. That is
this man. And yesterday we talked about the fruits of conquest, right? And how he brought so much wealth back to the school of Alabama. And I want to give you some numbers on that Brian Pompliano had. Sorry, I'm scrolling rapidly through my Twitter here to find them. Here it is. So the Flutie effect, or just Joe Pompliano, excuse me. The Flutie effect is when athletic accomplishments increase exposure, right? We talk about free advertising and eventually enrollment. Doug Flutie, Boston College, all that. When Nick Saban arrived in 2007, Alabama's population was 25,000. It is now 40,000. That's a 60% increase compared to a 10% increase, which is the national average. So 6xing the national average. Why this matters so much is because the entire country's seen Alabama constantly. Out of state enrollment became the majority, whereas before the vast majority were just in-state Alabama citizens. Why this matters? If you go Alabama out of state, you pay $32K. If you're in-state, you pay $11K. So you're talking about making the majority of students at the school pay 3 times more than what it used to be. So
it's the same Alabama, thing. It's the same thing happening with Georgia now too. I mean, kids want to. I mean, with the popularity of college football and the sport and the excitement and the thought of being a part of a championship team, like what we talked about yesterday. Like if you went to Alabama, there was a almost 100% chance over a 4-year period you would win one, if not multiple, national championships. And as a student, you kind of you enjoy that.
To watch him, yeah.
You get to watch it. You get to be a part of it. You get to go to the games. You get to go to the parades.
I would say this though, and this is just going to be a personal anecdote. When I was coming to high school, Georgia was still academically fucking hard to get into.
Yes, but it's harder now.
4.0, 1200,
way harder.
You could have a 4.0, 1200 SAT, not get in. The reason why all my friends went to Alabama in 2007 is because it was easy as fuck. It was the only place they could get in. We all grew up in Atlanta. They couldn't get into Georgia. They were taking everybody. Now, Alabama's like an academic institution. And as I said, Alabama paid, way more than they were, Aaron. I see that look. It's really hard to get into.
Yes, way more. Is it harder because there's more people enrolling or because it's a harder academic school?
It's one and the same, because when more people, when demand increases, then you have higher academic standards follow, because you don't want to accept a worse student over a better one. So it's all the same. So Alabama paid him $130 million over 16 seasons. But if you just want to do the napkin math on just the tuition increase, he made the school more than $1 billion. And that's just a tuition increase. That's not getting into sales, stuff like that. That's not even getting into the city of Tuscaloosa, which saw a 25% population increase in his tenure. The city. Go look at pictures of Tuscaloosa from 07 to now.
Completely different.
It's crazy.
It's great.
And this is, and I know y'all probably get annoyed with me with the Roman stuff, but this is why these are the literal fruits of conquest.
We never get sick of the
I know.
stuff.
I just feel like some people are like, God, T-Bob, you're being annoying. It's too much. You're trying too hard. And I understand if you think that, but it's just, I cannot shake it. I cannot. I spent 2 hours last night just thinking about Augustus and Saban. And these are literally him going to foreign lands, conquering them, and all that money flowing back to the hometown, and temples and shrines pop up. I mean, it is ancient history. It's ancient warfare. I love it. It's so perfect. And again, to all you Alabama fans, you gonna learn today. You gonna learn what it's like out here in the real world, son. Welcome, where you don't just win every fucking game by 40 points. You don't get to finish in the top 5, win a national championship every other year. But for Nick Saban himself, I'm not dancing on his grave. This is nothing but respect out of these last couple days.
At least Alabama fans had this season to start learning what it meant to like watch an entire football game in the stadium. You know, like to warm themselves up for the future of not being able to just, show up, show for half the game, see a blowout, go home. Nick Saban gets on the mic afterwards and bitches at everyone for not staying for the entire 4 quarters. Like, Alabama, you got somewhat of a taste for possibly what the future of Alabama football looks like. We'll see if you have. And I think that's tongue in cheek here, but that's all of college football. Like we've talked about the competitiveness of this league and the SEC, and you're not going to see as much, domination from certain schools as we've been accustomed to seeing since Nick Saban took over in 2007. But definitely not in Tuscaloosa.
Definitely not in Tuscaloosa. But Georgia's looking pretty scary from where I sit in terms of like
who is Kirby's equal if Jim leaves? Who's Kirby's equal?
I mean, kind of the closest that you got is like a Brian Kelly, maybe in terms of hoping to stand up to him. No, bro. Sark doesn't have any other Kelly.
Who are you putting? Ryan Day?
Not now.
Who's next?
I'm saying I think BK and LSU would be near the front of the line for that, especially now maybe with Alabama not torturing the next door neighbor quite as much.
I mean, who are the top 5 coaches in America?
Oh God.
I mean, you have Kirby.
I mean, you got to have Mark Stoops in there, right?
I mean, this is a serious question. Like you look at the landscape of college football right now when it comes to coaches,
for the purpose of this conversation, we're saying no Jim Harbaugh.
We're saying no Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh he has moved on to the NFL.
So Kirby, without a doubt, with a bullet is number 1, and there's nobody close now.
No one close. No one even
I
close.
still think you got, and I know I'm maybe coming off like a homer here, guys, but I still think you got to go BK too. Wow, you're talking about a guy
all the way to 2.
Well, I'm saying he's the winningest coach in all of college football. He just doesn't have a natty. Who else has natty sets left? Dabo Swinney hasn't taken a single player out the portal. Can't be Dabo. If you want to put Lane above BK, that's fine.
No. I'm putting BK above Lane. BK's been to a natty. BK is now number 2 coach in America. There's only 2 coaches with a natty.
I would have Kalen DeBoer in my top 5. I would have.
Is Lane Kiffin a top 5 coach in America?
Maybe I'm being a prisoner of the moment, but I'd say if you combine his success at FAU and his success at Ole Miss, which is not fluky.
I don't care about stock. I'm asking you right now, not what his stock is, but Ryan Day and everything he's accomplished. You're saying he's not a top 5 coach.
It's just tough to say, dude. I mean, they call him third base for a reason. And how long can that third base? Yeah, they got Quinshon Judkins and stuff. No. I'll go Ryan Day top 5. I don't want to be too much of a prisoner moment. So give me Kirby, give me BK, in no order here, except for Kirby being 1. Give me BK, give me Day, give me Lane, and then either DeBoer or Lanning. I can't go Lincoln Riley, guys. Not after the disaster that was.
You got to go DeBoer over Lanning. DeBoer's beat him 3 straight times. So
that's true. So DeBoer over Lanning.
But I mean, it's still. To me, it's
a Wild West group, dude.
That is massive gaps. Like we talked about, like, everyone joked like who's better, Nick or Kirby. Like everyone's like, 1A, 1B, because we don't want to offend Nick Saban by putting Kirby technically way ahead of him. There is no one close to Kirby Smart right now.
Shit,
No
Mike
one's
Norvell's
close.
bumping up in that top 5, though.
Yeah, but
I mean,
those
that's the thing.
dudes,
You almost really need to make a top. You almost need to make like a next 8. Like Kirby
there's a
1,
tier
and then who are the
1.
next 8?
Yeah, it's tier 1. Kirby owns tier 1, and then,
Because
tier
like
2, there's no
we
one, and then
could
tier
do a
3.
top 5, but really there's no functional difference in like
No.
a lot of it. It's just opinion.
Yes.
That you can't really point to anything objective and say, well, this is, these are next.
Because no one else has a natty.
So Jack Bruder says wasting time talking about this. I'll disagree here, Jack, because this is all in service of pointing out just how much the landscape has changed or will change if Harbaugh leaves as well.
Yep.
Like the 2024 landscape for college football was already transformative and insane. And yeah, like Mike Norvell. That's why I say like
we talked about it yesterday. We talked about 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday's show. We did 2 shows yesterday.
Has to be somewhere in there, likely. Sorry,
but we've talked about looking forward to next season. Who are the favorites to win a national championship? I mean, Georgia has the best odds right now to go to the playoffs. But then the 2 other teams that we kind of had up there were Michigan, especially if JJ comes back, and in Alabama. And then now both those teams could be losing their head coaches. So like you had like your big 3 and 2 of them have dropped. So like who is close to Georgia right now when it comes to talent and coaching? You combine the talent and coaching. Some teams have the talent, but do they have the coaching to match it? Some teams have the coaches, but do they have the talent to match it? Like Georgia's now the only complete football team with coaching and talent that is tier one in college football heading into next season.
True. But watch out, bro. You remember when Coach O used to fuck Kirby Smart on the reg? Get ready. Bo Davis hired. Blake Baker hired. Got 5 stars flipping. We about to go poaching that Alabama roster. Watch out now, Bo. Like Coach O used to say, we coming. We're coming. Fuck you. Kirby Smart really did get fucked by Coach O. Let's be painfully clear about that. Every time they squared up, that man owned Kirby Smart. That's facts. You know who else did? Nick Saban. That's facts. I don't know what to tell you. Rip to the goat.
Good thing both of them aren't coaching anymore.
True. All right. Let's get into some super chats real quick here. We had Shepherd Duck says, not going to lie, fellas, I teared up seeing Dan stay here. God bless Uncle Phil Knight. I want to play that Dan Lanning video in a second and talk about it. First, B-Rad.
Dude, I'm shocked. Are you shocked about that one?
Well, hold on. I want to get into it in a second. Okay. Let's knock out the other super chats. Aaron to the Falcons. T-Bob to the Roman Legions. What's up, dude? Call me T-Centurion. And then we got Rhett Proctor, $5 super chat. Lane Kiffin would bring back Pete Golding as DC. Ain't no way Alabama would let that fly. Okay, so we do need to discuss Kiffin a little bit. First, let's go to Dan Lanning. PG, you have the Lanning video ready, right? Okay, so it was announced that, or it was tweeted out, but I think Mark Zenitz at 247 was the first place I saw it, that Dan Lanning was never in Tuscaloosa and that he's staying at Oregon. And not a minute later, Dan Lanning's Twitter account posted this.
Everybody makes what? They all make commitments to things that they're going to do. A lot of starters. The world doesn't have a lot of what? Finishers. We're finishers.
I want to be here in Eugene for as long as Eugene will have me. This place has everything that I could possibly ever want. There's a little bit of a problem in society today with people looking for what's next and where there's an opportunity. And the reality is, the grass is not always greener. In fact, the grass is damn green in Eugene.
I know that gets you excited.
Oh, dude.
The only thing would have been better if he was smoking a cig with his shirt off and a tattoo just hanging out. Just a tat. Okay,
so I know we always talk about Dan's tattoo, but it's because it informs. I actually think it just informs what a badass he is and how cool he is. The fact that him and his wife fell in love while working at Outback Steakhouse, and he has now honored that fact with a giant love handle tattoo with his sexy wife's cleavage on it. So weird. Every time I get a little turned on by the tat, I have to remind myself I'm just looking at Dan Lanning's pale love handle. But my point is, I find that to be relatable. Like that seems like somebody I'd like to hang with. that I'd like to kick it with. Definite stoner vibes. You see him fucking hitting the cigar at the end of the video. And the power move of, if you want to go somewhere and you're worried about the coach even, like, come here, dog, because I ain't leaving. And I do not think, because the question is, does Alabama have that guy? Their guy. Does Alabama have their guy? And I thought yes. And I was looking at the sports books and I thought, okay, it's for sure Lanning, because you don't make this move without having 100% lined up what you're going to do. So I guarantee this is not what happened, but Aaron, there's a part of me that just desperately wants to believe that Dan Lanning led Alabama on, right? That was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm into it. Or maybe some tentative verbal agreement, set up the interview.
You weren't going to do this without a plan. I don't think that Alabama was like, okay, we're going to do this. And I think this was just a Nick made the decision. This wasn't a planned out thing.
No, I'm saying, but you don't think Nick told them ahead of time and they didn't start? This coach search has been going on forever. This
I don't know. I've heard a couple of things. There's been rumors for years now. Like, was there a plan being put together that if Nick, at some point when Nick retires, here's our running list of 3 candidates that we're going to go after hard, and maybe we kind of have some conversations with their agent just to continue to warm the waters a little bit? Yeah, I'm sure that happened, and I'm sure Lanning's agent has been talked to maybe multiple times over the past year of just, hey, just letting you know if things do happen, just want to keep that door open. As I go through the mental gymnastics of figuring out who's going to be the next Alabama coach, I just kept getting back to Lanning made the most sense. Sark doesn't make sense because why would you leave Texas? Kirby ain't leaving Georgia. DeBoer, as we love him.
DeBoer makes sense. If you believe in him to recruit, he makes sense.
That's the problem. But you just watched him get beat up in a national championship game on both lines of scrimmage. I just think that kind of sticks in your head a little bit if you're an Alabama fan. I think that's in your head a little bit if you're an Alabama fan.
Well, that's bad. That should not be the concern with DeBoer. That should not be the concern with DeBoer.
I'm just saying, they're used to one style of football for the past 15 years of kick-ass, dominant, elite in the trenches. And not saying they've always been that. Like, obviously, they've had some issues this year on the offensive line, but that is how it's been built. And then you watch a national championship game where Michigan is just whooping your ass.
No, that's not
in
fair,
the trenches.
Bro. He had been there. Harbaugh's been there 9 years. He had 9 years to build. What the fuck are we talking about? He had 9 years.
I know. I'm just saying, for the average fan watching the game, who some of these decision makers that have a voice in this whole decision, they watching that say, like, do we want a guy that just got his ass whooped at the line of scrimmage, or we want a guy, which is why I go to Dan Lanning.
If that's your hiring logic, then
your styles, bro.
The
foundation of Alabama has been built a certain way. I want a guy who is there's a tentacle from Nick Saban somewhere of the style of football that we believe wins in Tuscaloosa. That's a lot easier.
That is Kalen DeBoer's style. Look at how he got the most out of lines that weren't thought to be that good. You're telling me he doesn't want to build to the O-line? He ran the fuck out of the ball.
So.
He stayed committed to the ball.
He stayed committed. He didn't run the fuck out of it. That's two different things.
No.
Yes.
Making the play call, deciding we're going to, even though we're so incredible at throwing the ball, we're going to stay committed to it. That is running the fuck out of the ball. I didn't say they were good at it, but that's to my point. My point is he didn't have the personnel. We don't know how to judge him based on the personnel he can get. I know he wants to build through the line. You don't win.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think I like DeBoer. I'm not going against DeBoer. I just don't think he's their guy. I don't think he's their guy.
You fucked up my whole bit originally anyway, which was Dan Lanning leading Alabama on and then being like, psych, pulling the rug out and then just using. I mean, he flipped it into recruiting, right? Yeah. Like, I like to think about him leaning into the rumors and last night being on the phone and be like, no, tell him I'm there. Tell him in Tuscaloosa. Tell him I'm doing this. And like, okay, you saw the report. I don't know if this is true or not. Did they push back the team meeting by 2 hours? I love to think that he did that just to build the hype for the flip. I mean, it's WWE at its finest. And you're telling me a man that made that video and smoked the cigar at the end of it like he did? Is it a fan of showmanship?
He definitely is a fan of showmanship. I mean, he's done it all year. Remember that the pregame speech before Colorado and the halftime speech?
Oh, it was awesome.
I mean, he knows what he's doing. Like, Dan knows what he's doing. You got the swagger of Oregon and the uniforms and, obviously the play on the field. Then you have a coach who does bring that off the field as well. I'm not saying it's the right decision for him. I mean, I think that Alabama obviously is more ability to be more consistent and actually win championships, but You can win at Oregon. And if you're happy there, good for you, man. Good for you. Plenty of money as well.
Real quick here. 700 watching. Hell yes, y'all. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button if you like it. 13.3 subscribers, dude. It's fucking crazy. Every day we're coming in here with like 100 more. We love you. Please keep in the sub button if you want. Venice 90291 says, I don't get the Lanning hype. He's the new girl on the block. So this to me speaks to something that I wanted to get into a little bit here, which is there's no candidate everybody's going to agree on.
No.
There's no perfect candidate. So eventually you got to bet on a guy that you believe in. And so I feel you. Lanning's still relatively unproven. We don't know how he stands the test of time. We just have really good early returns. Now, I'll tell you why I like Lanning. I like his fucking general feel. I like how he built that Oregon team. I like how the kind of attitude that they played with, the culture he's trying to instill. And so I can see betting on him being a riser, right? The same way, like Blake Baker for LSU doesn't have the resume to be the highest paid coordinator in the entire country, but they're betting on catching a young guy on the up and up. And that's what you're going to have to do. Like nobody is going to have the resume to make them. At a time, it could have been Dabo.
Yeah.
If Dabo had kept it up and if he had stayed abreast of the situation, if he had continued to evolve like Nick Saban, could have been him. Instead, he went down the Les Miles route. And now he's showing up with clear
are they going to
black
get to the
eyes
point
from
though? Like
Knuckles.
Lanning said no. If Sark says no, Kirby says no. You kind of get to a point where it's DeBoer, Kiffin, Dabo. Right. I don't see anyone else. I don't see anyone else.
Can't be Dabo. You get somebody
Well,
out of the
like,
NFL.
are you going to get to a point where like maybe you have to go Dabo if
Get
DeBoer says
D'Amico
no?
Ryans. They wish. Can't get D'Amico. I mean, somebody did mention
if those are the three left, Kiffin, DeBoer,
R.W. Tyndall said that it's been reported that Butch Jones on a Spirit airline flight, Tuscaloosa.
I'm taking Lane over DeBoer.
Well, I mean, yeah, because he's better recruiter. Or I'm sorry, I don't know about better, but you know him as a recruiter more, and I would guess he's better. To be clear,
I don't think,
and he's an incredible
you
schemer.
Can't judge Lane. You can't judge Lane recruiting at Ole Miss. He knew that he's
done
not going to
great.
be able to. No, he's done great through the portal.
It's all the same.
The traditional. I know. Okay,
no,
if you're going to say it's all
okay.
the same, then yes. I'm saying from like people are like, oh, well, Alabama said like the number one, top 5 recruiting class, number 1, all that. Like Lane doesn't do that. Well, Lane couldn't win by doing that. He had to do this route at Ole Miss. I don't know if he would go full. He wouldn't go full transfer portal mode at Alabama. He would go more grassroots, high school recruiting, and then filling in the pockets when needed through the portal. I think he could do both.
I mean, but if it is like a never Lane situation before Dabo, like cursive Q says Todd Monken. Like I think there's names like that you explore before Dabo. Bro, you cannot go Dabo when he is so clearly falling behind the times. I mean, you probably go like
I'm not saying I don't want Dabo. I don't want Dabo. I'm just saying we may get to a point where Dabo has to be the answer.
No, what I'm saying is I think there's coordinators. I think there's guys you take chances on.
No, you don't get a coordinator.
Dabo.
You do not elevate a coordinator.
Again, this is only in the context of we've arrived at Dabo being like
Dabo's dropped that far that you get a coordinator to take over for Nick Saban in Alabama.
Yes.
Wow.
We live in the most transformative time in college football history. Which major coach has proven less adaptability? Which major coach? Find me the coach, the major coach.
Which broadcaster has dogged Clemson the most for the past 2 years? Like,
no,
I know more. I know. I've been on this.
So what's the logic to how in the hell would he get this job?
I still don't know if you go coordinator. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Do you take a risk on like a guy like, I don't know. Any coordinator over a coach that's won multiple national championships for the past decade.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Tommy Rees, head coach, Alabama. Guys, I get Dabo as 2 natties. Okay, fine. Hire Dabo. Hire Dabo, Alabama.
You want Dabo to be, you as an LSU guy want Dabo to be hired at Alabama.
Yes.
Yes.
Look, I think Alabama leadership, again, is smart enough to recognize this is the most transformative time in college football history. What did we wax on forever yesterday? How Nick Saban's greatest strength was that ability to adapt, to forecast what the market was going to do and how to stay ahead of the market. Nowhere was that more apparent than that 2020 COVID year. I mean, the truest and most rapid of all insanity, and he handled it the best. But it was everything evolving offensively, like you said, culturally, evolving through NIL, through the portal. Like, you're going to go get a guy who seems like that's his greatest weakness. You never want to catch a falling knife. Thank you. Finally, right. Like, that's what that is. Hold on. You're a big crypto guy, right? That you've heard that investing. You never want to catch a falling knife. And that's exactly what Dabo Swinney is. Just because he has these two natties, you're like, oh man, that's got to be the guy. Okay, well, you're going to bleed. You're going to cut your hand if you try.
Listen, if you're going to go ACC route, I know a couple people in the chat have said this, but you got to go. I would feel better about Mike Norvell, at least with kind of what the criteria you've talked about, of like staying up with the times of where college football is heading. Norvell is bought in, but he's just seems like a risk to me. But like, if we're going to say Lanning is not a risk, why is Mike Norvell a risk?
What least risky, in my opinion,
he said more years of coaching. You just love fucking Kalen.
No, look, I think
you may root for Alabama next year against LSU if Kalen DeBoer is on the sidelines. Just that your love runs deep for DeBoer.
You think I would ever root for Alabama?
I don't know, man. Like you have a hard on for him.
I would rather pay $40,000 to get my vasectomy reversed and then pay another $40K to get it snipped again, rather than cheer for fucking Alabama. Royal Payne said Greg Byrne hired Nate Oates. The corollary to that is Kalen DeBoer.
I think a great comment in the chat from Wade Walker. Biggest takeaway from all of this, none of these names hold a candle to Nick Saban. Ain't that the truth?
That's what I was just getting at, though. Which is like when you talk about Lanning being the new girl, nobody is going to be the 100% choice. So at a certain point, you can't do things like go by resume like you're talking about with Dabo. That's exactly my fucking point. Yep. Like, you have to bet on someone that you believe in. You have to bet on someone that you think is going to be your best option. Bama's not going to hire Norvell, just lost to Kirby by 60 points. You Georgia fans thinking that is at all representative of this Florida State team. It must be so nice to live in your fucking fantasy land where everything works out for you and you just compete for championships and all you get is 5 stars and
no one coaches even close to Kirby anymore.
Yeah. Like, shut the fuck up.
Where's the national championship at next year? Is it in Atlanta?
I don't know.
I think it is. Yeah.
Gulf South, the next coach doesn't matter. Bama's just another team at this point. No one was intimidated by the Crimson Tide. It was always Nick Saban. So
beg to differ that.
Well, the only pushback I would say is that against all odds, they did find Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. So for whatever reason, out of all the fucking schools in the country, the once in a lifetime thing has happened twice. And a lot of people are alive to see it twice in that city. So there's something there potentially. And look at the success that LSU has gone on after the Nick Saban tenure. Like, he has really set up Alabama to at least still be relevant. But yeah, they're not going to be on the level that they have been, certainly.
No. I'm just more fascinated. This next week is going to tell us a lot about what the 2024 Alabama team is going to be, because multiple reasons, like who are you going to hire? Big one. And what's this roster going to look like? This talented roster who just lost a ton of guys to the NFL, 2 edge rushers, top DBs, their best receiver, lost some guys to the portal. How much of the rest of that core does dabble a little bit in the portal over the next 30 days, along with the head coach?
So I keep thinking about this, and I really feel it's impossible to answer. And I know that's a cop-out, but I don't know the ins and outs of the Alabama roster. No. I'm not the biggest recruiting guy. The tampering nowadays, I've been making jokes, but like LSU has no D tackles left after Mason Smith declared for the NFL. It's time to tamper. Get in touch with all the other rosters. You free up some NIL resources. And then look, you have a snowball effect. Okay, somebody leaves, or Nick Saban leaves Alabama, that roster's open. Whoever replaces Nick Saban, that roster's open. Whoever replaces that guy, that roster's open. So let's start tampering, everyone. Let's all go like the carrion crows. Starting to feast on the roadkill. All the big schools are getting ready to hover over that Alabama roster and just start.
Well, I do think it's the next team that gets screwed in this whole thing, because the next team not only loses their head coach, but it would be a roster, say like a Washington, who got to the Natty, that maybe they're not the TCU of last year. Like, we're not going to see Washington fall off the face of the earth, but like, you lose your coach. Do you then use the next 30 days if you're Washington to upgrade yourself to a more possibly stable program?
I got distracted by a question about Game of Thrones. Sorry, what did you say?
I'm
sorry. No, I'm sorry. That's my bad. I feel bad.
No, all I was saying is like the next team is the team to me that gets the most screwed. Like, you talk about like pillaging all the villages. The next team, like if it was Washington and DeBoer got the job, do those players truly think Washington is sustainable as following their coach Alabama, going to an SEC school?
I see what you're saying.
Like that next school is the school that's going to have a massive drop in my opinion.
Because Alabama is still Alabama right now.
Yes, because Alabama's still Alabama. And and wherever they're all the coaches we're talking about, their teams are kind of in that next tier down, where those players, some of the stars, could take a leap somewhere else if they wanted to. And they have the excuse because their coach is gone.
Royal Payne says Bama was elite with Stallings. It's going to be just fine. Again, Bama will still be great, be a top program in the country. But this is what I try to tell y'all. Your glory days are in the past. You will never reach the heights that you have occupied for the past 17 years.
No one will ever reach those heights.
Exactly. Well, Georgia might. I mean, Kirby could. Kirby legitimately could. I know you feel he couldn't. And
I don't think he can.
Well, you know what? Hopefully, we will be doing this show. Like, hopefully the show gets successful enough where we'll still be doing this show and we can one day answer that. That would be very fun, right? That would be great. And my favorite book from Ice and Fire is probably the third one. Is the question I was asked. Oh, and I forgot to mention this on the show yesterday. That I tweeted out immediately after the show ended. Nick Saban needs to be on the cover of NCAA 25.
Yes.
It's not even fucking close.
I can't believe I was the first person to think about that. I'm just like shocked that I was literally the first person. I was like, why would they not put Nick Saban on the cover of the new NCAA football game? I mean, crazy.
I said it and you immediately tried to tweet it out. But yeah, Nick Saban needs to be on the cover of 25. And if I'm EA, I'm planning like a Saban legend mode where you play like the biggest moments or the biggest games or a Saban challenge. Like, I am infusing Nick Saban, and I know it's late in the production game, so I don't know how much work you can do on that, but I'm infusing Nick Saban into every corner of that thing. The special $120, GOAT edition or whatever, any of it. 17 years. Jason Watley, 17 years from now, Aaron's hosting The Bachelor and T-Bob's trying to find a liver donor.
We're laughing because it could be true.
It's not outside the realm. I mean, yeah, it's not outside the realm of possibility. G Bama Boy says, T-Bob, no one reached those heights. 7 LSU. I never said we would, but we all know it is painful. You never want to be alive when civilization takes a step back. Progress is not linear. If you look at the evolution of civilization, on the whole, it's up. But if you look closer, you got dark ages, you got these step backs when shit goes to shit. And it's a bad feeling when you don't occupy the heights that you once did. Okay. And when that's always going to be where you're going back to, like the greatest ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend you've ever had. Like, good luck, boys. Good luck.
Colby Myers in the chat. James Franklin has a $6 million buyout. Could he be looking for that next step? He's looking for the next step. They just ain't going to be looking for him. So
no,
sorry.
No. James Franklin needs to prove that he can avoid murdering a offensive coordinator. Yeah. Like if he can let an offensive coordinator live with him for more than like 3 years, then maybe we can consider James Franklin. But he has to be good too.
You know, we haven't talked about it all is
Josh would never let Aaron host The Bachelor.
Yeah. You know who we haven't talked about is your boy Mario Cristofrod.
Why? What happened?
I'm just saying, like, there's Saban ties. There are Saban ties to Christopher.
I mean, yeah. Hello. How do you replace the best coach ever? With a fall guy. So then you can fire him and there's no pressure on the next guy. In that way, Christopher's perfect. 500 overall record. I will say this. And actually, I've got a deep state theory about what Bama could or might do coming up next, right after this DraftKings read. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet just $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. So, you're an Eagles fan? You think your boys are going to turn it around in playoff time? You can bet on them, okay? Or, probably not because they probably won't. Either way, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code T-Bob. New customers bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code T-Bob, T-B-O-B. The crown is yours. So, speaking of fall guys, somebody said Alabama will not hire Deion Sanders. And that is correct from a pure resume standpoint, being proven, whatever. But Deion kind of represents a very interesting candidate in that he has the confidence to take on the panel. Like, if anybody would, Deion would.
Balls. Yep.
Got the balls. He looks like he could have some extreme upside. So maybe you hire him and it works. But what if you hire him with the idea that it's okay if it doesn't work? 2-3 years, it won't go to disaster, but maybe you're falling short. You see what Dan Lanning does over the next 3 years. You see how things go for Sark and company. What happens? You let the landscape develop, and then either he's your fall guy or he's your guy. I mean, it kind of makes sense in terms of now. Deion, I don't think when he leaves his kid, all that stuff we know.
He's not leaving his kid. He's not leaving his kid.
Again. But I'm just saying.
Can you imagine your dad leaving you and going? Is your coach and leaving and said, "No, I'm going to go to Alabama. Sorry, kid."
And all the Alabama fans are saying, "Hell no about Deion to Alabama." Guys, that's kind of my exact point, right? Is you go with a hire that has the potential upside, but then again, if it goes wrong, well, that's okay. You move on now. I don't
think you want to do that because you act like this is just some any old program. Like, you had the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
Build one of the strongest foundations. Like, why risk 3 years of?
Because you're risking it no matter what. No, you're risking it no matter what. I guess anybody works more risk. So
yeah, there's a lot of people that can have. Most people can have success in Alabama. I'm just saying, like, there's always a risk that is, as my favorite words, a little bit more risky.
The point is, I don't think the next guy is going to be the guy, I guess is the greater point. Because you never want to be the guy that follows the guy. You want to be the guy that follows the guy that followed the guy. Yeah, do the math. You'll get there eventually.
My question is, in 3 years, if it's not the guy, does Alabama completely fall so far off that they're back into the dark ages of the early 2000s?
Here's the other deal from Swerve Online. Actually, now Deion could bring his kid and Travis. Unlimited transfer.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Prime back in play, dude. Prime time. Hire Hugh Freeze, and then Auburn hire Prime. Prime on the plains. Make it happen again. No, Gulf, I did not steal your takes. I did not see that take yesterday. I apologize if you two had that take about the fall guy. But, great minds think a lot. Think alike. Think a lot.
I love Deion. I love Deion and Lane.
Greg Burton isn't looking for a bridge guy. Bridge guys are only bridge guys in retrospect. No one's trying to hire one. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But
I don't think people are saying like he's not aiming to hire a bridge guy. He's just saying that, like, I can I can essentially hire someone that maybe is not as proven as everyone wants.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You're taking a shot no matter what. Take your shot. If it miss, okay, we can do it again, and we might even be a more attractive job in some ways after that. Because
he's trying to pump a meme coin. You're trying to get rich off a meme coin here. If it goes big, you're fucking great. If not, and that sucks. As a meme coin,
oh god,
if you need to put your life savings on it, and you go buy some more stable stuff.
Crypto Aaron, he's so back. I like to every few years when Bitcoin pumps, we're gonna have to listen to this, and then it's gonna fall again, and everybody's be like, Bitcoin's dead, and then it'll chill, and then it'll pump again. It's just I mean, we've seen this rhythm so many times at this point, but I do actually like the meme coin analogy. Crazy if they don't hire Larry Coker. I agree. I mean, but that is kind of the point of this too, though. It's gonna be hard to judge the next coach because even Larry Coker won the Natty at Miami, and he was awful.
Yeah. Keep hearing Glenn Schumann. I think coordinator is way down the list right now. Way down the list for Alabama.
The crazy thing for me is how attractive is the job? Because it is simultaneously the best job in the country, hands down, but also the most ridiculous because of the expectations and who you're following up. And who everybody's going to be comparing you to, whether they want to or not.
As you talked about, though, like the bar has been risen so high when it comes to money, where you know what, go fuck up Alabama for 3 years, get paid $30 million, and go find your next job. And I think it's going to be really hard to mess it up where you wouldn't be able to find success afterwards. Yeah. Like what would be a bad 3 years for the next head coach that would warrant him getting fired? Say you went 8-4, 9-3. For the next 3 years, and that's not good enough by the Alabama standard. You get let go. You say, okay, I went 9-3. I can go get any other job in the country I want at that point. So there's no way you can't mess it up that bad over the next few years to a point where you couldn't go get another really good job.
Yeah, that's true.
And get paid.
Marcus
It is everything is. You understand? It's more than just the players. It is the front office. It's the facilities. It is the nutrition, it is the workouts, the those machines, it's the trainers, like everything is there. It isn't like I need to go bring in a new strength staff. I need an updated weight room. I need new this, new that, new personnel. No, it's there. They just need a coach. You have A+ in every category. So to really mess it up, you have to be a shit coach.
Yeah. Well, but I don't.
I'm not saying like mess it up in the sense of like.
No. I mean,
the expectation will always be to win a championship. But I think.
No, I'm saying, but this idea of being a shit coach, I don't know that I agree because, like, what do they say? Comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. You could be a damn good coach, but you're not the best of all time, and everybody you're working with who worked under Saban is going to compare you to him.
Oh, yeah.
And so you may not be a shit coach, but you may look like a shit coach because you're being judged against that light. It's tough, man. It's fucking tough.
I'll take it.
T-Bob, I love just throwing coaches' names out at this point in college football. Yeah, I agree. Like Mel Tucker, Tyndall said, hell yeah, dude. Fucking bring Mel back. He used to be at Alabama. He adjusted great to the transfer portal at first, remember?
Yeah. Todd Grantham is out there somewhere.
God, Todd Grantham's got one of the weirdest faces ever. So Abart says Kim Mulkey. Real talk, Kim Mulkey could actually be beast.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you wanted to break the heart of Louisiana, Coach O. I would.
I thought you were going to say Brian Kelly, but I don't know if you leave LSU. I don't think you leave LSU.
Coach O. Marty Funkhauser, $2 super chat. Order of calls: Lanning, DeBoer, Freshwater. That feels kind of realistic to me.
Yeah, but Lanning's out, so it doesn't matter.
No, I know, but that's what he means.
I know.
But yeah. he's doing a list of like what they would pursue. I could see that. But again, I don't think it gets to. Oh no, 3. Okay, never mind. 3 is Lane. Yeah. Because as soon as it gets to Lane would take it.
Yes,
100%.
Yes. This is what we talked about with like Lane for the past couple of years. Maybe Lane was waiting for this. Like maybe Lane knew that this opportunity was coming, and he stayed at Ole Miss and just said, "If I win football games, I'll be right there in the conversation." Because you can't tell me Lane has not had an opportunity to go somewhere a little bit more stable than Ole Miss.
No, yes. But no, I mean, he talked about it. He chose to stay. I mean, Auburn wanted him. He talked about it, and he chose
But
to
maybe
stay.
if he knew that the end goal was Alabama, and I don't want to go to Auburn because then it nicks the opportunity.
Oh, no, I always feel like that's been an element in his thinking,
Yes.
is waiting for that Alabama job to open up.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Oh, shit. We're getting reports that Coach O was spotted in sorority row in Tuscaloosa. Fuck. Could be coincidence, though. All right. We love y'all. Fun show. Ton of people watching.
Everyone, stay on the socials. We may have to do an emergency pod at some point this weekend if news breaks. So
yeah,
stay nimble. My
stay
friend.
on the socials makes you sound like you're a corporate 40-year-old D-bag. You can't. I don't know.
Just keep your ear to the ground.
No,
keep your ear to the ground.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know
what.
I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to say. I mean, am I out of line?
I want everyone to essentially update their Twitter every 5 minutes and just be ready for something to happen. And we'll be live. There you go.
Stay on the socials.
Stay on the socials.
Nuge. I love Dunkin' Egg for what it's worth. Talking about George R. R. Martin books. Yeah, Dunkin' Egg is fucking incredible. A really good listen on Audible. I listened to that, which I kind of count. I mean, I count as reading, whatever. $2 super chat, Mel Tucker, but we only issue him a speakerphone. Yeah, he just can't ever make a call alone.
Or have lotion in his office.
All right. That's gonna be the show. Thank you so much. Please guys hit the like button if you enjoy the show, because like the higher percentage of viewers you have that hit the like button, the algorithm's like, oh shit, people enjoy this, until they push it out more. So if you like the show, it's a super easy way you can help out. Obviously subscribing to We Love. Please do that. Yeah, get Tuberville out of the Senate. Out of the Senate, back into college football. D'Amico Ryans is kind of interesting, but you just have to pay him like $1 billion. I don't know. He seems like why would you arrest all the positive momentum he has as an NFL head coach right now? It just seems like too much, in my opinion. But
what about Vrabel?
If Vrabel wasn't immediately going to get another NFL head job, I'd maybe say yes, but like I feel like he's going to have NFL offers on the table.
Yeah.
Seriously, what about Tom Herman? What has Tom Herman done at FAU though? Because Lane was awesome at FAU. Has Tom Herman done anything at FAU? I think Tom Herman, whatever he had at Houston, and even sometimes at Texas, it just got lost, man.
Yeah.
It's so funny how that happens with people. Let's see. What has he done at FAU? No, 4-8 last year. All right, that'll do it. We love you. More snaps. Oh shit, it's Thursday. So
that's what I said.
Yeah, stay on the socials. Stay on the
socials.
Emergency pod sometime coming up. And please spread the word. Y'all have a great weekend. We love you. We love college football. Later, y'all.